All right, welcome into the Walkout presented by Joseph Toyota of Cincinnati. Paul Daner Jr. here in Denver. Jay Morrison back on the homestead in Cincinnati on a night where the Bengals get taken behind the woodshed once again. The Denver Broncos beating Cincinnati 28-3 on Monday Night Football. Jay, another blowout. This season is feeling very long right now. There are no answers around the corner. They look done. They've been outscored 76-13 the last 2 weeks. There must be a song about feeling like it's all over out there for you.
Yeah. How about you didn't have to stoop so low. Now you're just somebody that I used to know. Doesn't look like the team we know.
It certainly doesn't. Let's hit that music.
It's the Walkout with Paul and Jay, with red hot stories from post game, interviews, analysis, within the hour, right here at the Growler.
All right, welcome back into the Walkout presented by Joseph Toyota of Cincinnati. You are going to we're going to take you inside the locker room. We're going to take you inside this game. I'm going to try not to rant too much, Jay. I can feel it. I feel it in my bones. I feel one coming out, and I'm just forewarning. I feel like I need to just put pretty much everything needs a Surgeon General's warning tonight. This book here with all the stats in it needs it. A lot of the things we're probably going to talk about needs it. Bengals fans, probably, anybody that's considering being a Bengals fan probably needs a Surgeon General's warning at this point because it is tough times. But you're going to hear from Ja'Marr Chase, Zac Taylor. You're going to hear from Jake Browning. We're going to ask if this team's done. We're going to try to answer that question. We're going to talk a little bit about if you watched the game, what you saw, a little altercation, conversation, if you will, between Ja'Marr Chase and Zac Taylor on the sideline as frustration has begun to bubble over there. Frustration with the offense. We're going to get you some more insight into that. Talk a little bit about this defense that gave up, checks notes, 512 yards of offense to the Denver Broncos tonight. And the latest is the world turns over there. We will have your Joseph Toyota drive of the game and everything else. Before we do that, Jay, though, listen up, Growl Pals. I've got good news. It's not all bad here today. If you're tired of that dealership run around, do yourself a favor. Head over and see my guy and longtime Growl Pal, Kevin, and the team at Joseph Toyota of Cincinnati. Over there, the playbook is simple. Upfront, honest, transparent. Just like you're going to walk away from this episode with no doubt the walkout is like that. Clear pricing from the start, real numbers on your trade, a team that actually listens to what you need, not just what they want to sell you. Whether you're looking for a tough Tacoma, a reliable RAV4, a fully loaded Tundra, Joseph has a massive selection of new and pre-owned vehicles, all backed by a level of service that never turns the ball over. Joseph Toyota Cincinnati has rates as low as 1.75% for well-qualified buyers and qualifying vehicles. So if you're ready for a car buying experience that won't make you feel the opposite of what it's been like watching the Bengals the last 2 weeks, head to Joseph Toyota Cincinnati on Colerain or online anytime at josephtoyota.com. You can always call my buddy and Growl Pal Kevin, 513-385-1800. Joseph Toyota, the team that puts honesty in the driver's seat. Jay, we are about to put honesty in the driver's seat. I will ask you this question and let me know what you think honestly. Are they cooked?
It's easy to say yes. I'm not ready yet, just because I hammer on people about this all the time, where a game goes bad in the first quarter and people are like, game's over, season's over. And I still feel like 4 weeks in, it's probably a little too late. I'm not betting on the fact that they're not cooked. I wouldn't put a single dime on that. It's pretty damning. It's one thing to have an ugly game like they had last week or an ugly game like tonight, and you sprinkle that in. But back to back, man, when your whole focus this week was proving that last week was an aberration and instead you turned it into a confirmation, it's just a really, really bad look. And again, we're not even on October yet. It's a little early. things can happen. There are good players on this team, but there's a lot to figure out. And I don't know where my confidence level is that the coaching staff and or the players will get that figured out.
Things can happen. What can happen? What's going to happen? That's my question. And I went around kind of the locker room asking, like, what's the hope? What's going to change with this team? This is who they are. 55-6 in the last two first halves. 76-13. They had more penalties than first downs tonight.
That's hard to do, even with that crew.
14-9. I mean, this since when Joe Burrow went down, the idea was they can still be competitive, Jay. Like they can get to 500 and keep hope alive. No, they can't. They knew they'd have to play without Joe Burrow. They didn't know they would be playing without discipline, without a plan, without focus, without any thought of something happening positive offensively, getting run over. I mean, I don't know what's changing is the thing. Like, what is going to change? Yeah, these are tough road environments. These are tough teams to play. This is the NFL. It's tough. You're non-competitive for a second straight week, Jay. For a second straight week, they're setting historical futility. The yardage differential, 512 to 159, 353 yards differential tonight. There have only been 11 worse than that in the NFL. In the last 10 years, there have only been 3 worse than that in Bengals franchise history. The 2014 game against Indianapolis, a game where they rested all their starters at the end of the 2005 season against Kansas City, and the expansion team in 1968. That's the list. Are the only ones worse than that. I was talking with Skitty after the game, and we were laughing about looking at the possession chart. And it reminded us of that Indianapolis game.
Exactly.
Where I picture that possession chart. It looks the same. Punt, 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 punt. End of half. That one was good. Took a knee. Punt, 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 punt. I mean, and 3 plays, 4 plays. There is nothing. What's going to change, Jay? Like, what are these things, these magical things that are going to change?
It's a good question. I just you saw it with in 03 or in 23 with Jake, where they figured it out how to at least make this offense passable. I just the question here for me is, we hear this all the time where coaches, players talk about complementary football, and that is not both sides playing well. That's playing together, playing in harmony. If the defense is struggling, then if the offense is struggling, they punt. They don't turn it over. They trust the defense. Right now, the defense and the offense are playing not to lose. They're playing conservative. Something's got to change there. If the offensive game plan is going to be this conservative and this vanilla, then Al's got to do something on defense to create. I mean, they got to start blitzing more. They got to start. There's got to be aggression somewhere. You can't play NFL football so passively on both sides of the ball. Maybe they figure out a way there where that happens on one side. Maybe he just turns it loose and says, the hell with it. If we get beat by 25, 35, 45, what's it matter? You're getting your doors blown off. You got to at least make some sort of effort to make something happen. Will it? I don't know. But I don't know what the answer is. But it's too early to definitively say that it's going to be like this the rest of the way. But if I'm putting money down, that's the way I'm going.
It may not be like 76-13.
I mean, Lions, Packers, Steelers next. And then if the next few look like this, then you could definitely see this team going in the tank and it just spiraling big time.
You know, that was a great line about this being confirmation instead of an aberration, because I felt like this was going to be one of the more telling games, because you were worried last week, but there was the turnovers. Like, that's not going to be who they are. That's what happens in those games. Bad luck, fumble luck. You could talk yourself into that one. But this was going to be much more telling to who you really are and how you can, what level you're going to play at. This Denver team they're not world beaters, but I mean, they're a fine football team. They'll be okay. They're probably pretty similar to what they were last year. And you're non-competitive. And that to me says this is who you are. And that is such a deep hole to dig out of.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to dig out of a hole when you have a game where you felt like you had all kinds of good and you lost, or you had a bad quarter or or a fumble or a pick, or you're trying to be aggressive, but you can build on something. There's nothing to build on here. They have a defense that's just as bad as it really was last year. Maybe they're a tick better in some spots, but they do all the same things. They're running. They had too many guys on the field. They had too few guys on the field. They had all the guys on the field didn't know what they were doing. They had busted coverages. They had bad situational management. And at the end of the half, every box you want to check, you can check it. Like, that's who they are. And this offense is a total disaster. So I just feel like that showed that this is who. I don't know how you overcome that. And you certainly now have to go down to Detroit, Green Bay Alley here and enjoy yourself with that. We know what that can look like. So this is a tough one to swallow if you're a Bengal fan right now, because I think there was still hope. Like, you had hope, even with the Burrow thing. Like, you still had some hope. This was just it evaporated into the thin Rocky Mountain air. Off it goes. There it is, going over that way, over the mountains over there. It's gone. Hope it gone. That's it.
There was still hope after the first drive.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how it turned. And it wasn't like the Broncos went touchdown. It was puzzling, head scratching that it ended up that way. But you're right.
Yes.
In the past, you say, oh, 1 or 2 plays go the other way, it's a different game. Well, 1 or 2 plays go the other way, then it's 24-3 instead of 28-3.
Well, let me tell you something. When things go sideways and the team got you down, but you still have tickets to the game, this is when you need us, okay? We're still going to have fun, all right? And we're going to have a good time. And all you've got is your friends that you're going to these games with. Shared misery is still a good time, okay? So come on down to BetMGM and Tom's Watch Bar. We're going to be having fun on Sunday at noon. We're going to be giving away tickets to another game if you want them. Bengals, Steelers, Sunday night. That's always fun. Or on a Thursday night. So you got that coming your way. We're going to have special parlay boost. You can win some money. That's fun. We'll get you extra money for you to win. That's a good deal. Grater's ice cream, that's fun. We have Grater's ice cream for you. Like, we're bringing all the good parts, and then the game will have to happen after that. But we're bringing all the good, fun parts. So come down and see us on Sunday before Bengals Lions. That's a late window kick, but we will be doing the show live at BetMGM and Tom's Watch Bar at noon. You get those parlay boosts, and you can win the tickets, eat some Graters, all that good stuff. We hope to see you down there. Okay, I want to talk about something that did happen tonight, and that you got to feel like, Jay, we're probably going to see more of as this year evolves, and that is frustration bubbling over. You see the images of Jamar Chase and Zac Taylor having a conversation with each other as he comes off the field after another failed series. He's animated on the sidelines. He knocks over a water bottle. You see him with his hands, like, doing all this. He was kind of just exasperated. There's a couple of things. You're probably wondering, what was that? How serious was that? I was curious to hear what Jamar would be like in the locker room afterwards. The first thing I want to do is bring in Zac Taylor talking about that altercation with Jamar Chase and his view of it.
Coming up in a game like this is one of my favorite players to deal with, quite frankly, because he's just competitive. He just wants to win, and comes across as emotional. But that's just a captain that works his tail off. All he wants to do is win the game. All he wants to do is affect the game. And oftentimes it feels like I have the ball in my hand, I can do that, and I don't disagree with that. And we're always looking for ways to get him the ball. Obviously, sometimes for him, you can't see what's going on in the backfield and some of the challenges that face back there. But I love Jamar. He's when I'm done coaching, he will be one of my all-time favorites for the way that he has. How many years? Is 4, 5, 5? For the way that he has. I wouldn't say mature because he was never immature, but just the way he's become the total pro that you want leading your football team and competing in practice and competing in games. I can't say enough about him, and I'm sure if that interaction is on side, it just comes from a place where I want to help the team win. I can help the team win. Help me help the team win, and I love that about him.
There's Zac Taylor talking about that, and the other side of it, Jamar, I think in the way he was talking after the game, it wasn't inflammatory. We've heard Jamar certainly be unfiltered and inflammatory after games, often, yearly, some might say. That was not the case necessarily after the game. He's frustrated. He would like the ball more, but he was talking about being a captain, being a leader, being passionate and wanting to help his team go forward. He even, I think, tweeted that after the game. I play with passion. And that's there. Here's an interesting thing that was a part of Jamar's conversation, talking about a little bit of the want to element with this team.
Do you think there's enough urgency in this team?
Urgency's there, man. It's just, we got to want it. At the end of the day, we got to want it. Today it didn't look like we wanted it. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard knowing the type of offense we have, knowing the type of weapons we have in the backfield and the outside, and that tight end. So, it's kind of hard on us. We know what we're capable of. We know the ins and outs of the offense. We know, we're downfield threat team, and everybody else knows it. But, right now we're facing a little adversity, and we got to figure it out.
You said y'all doesn't seem like y'all wanted it today. Why do you think that was the case?
Just giving up, man. A lot of flags on the field. That comes with being disciplined. Too many flags on the offensive side too. Just out there, man. Offense got to want it more than the defense does.
Don't want it. That stood out to me when you talk about that is what not wanting it is discipline, is focus, is all the stuff that Jamar was talking about there. That was apparent. Team that didn't have any of that. They didn't have any of that preparedness that you would expect for this spot from a team that got their doors blown off last week and supposedly is going to come out trying to prove something else. And instead it's penalty after penalty. And I think with the referee report, people need to watch the referee report. They were even throwing 3 flags at once half the time. One was never enough. Everyone has to throw one at the same time. Unwatchable stuff. That said, a lot of what they're calling is real, and a lot of it's pre-snap, undisciplined stuff. There's no arguing with. That's on the Bengals, and that's the type of team that they are. Turnovers one week, penalties the next, all undisciplined.
Yeah, because I tweeted it out in the first half where the most penalties they've had in a first half under Zach was 8 last year at Tennessee when it looked the same way. All those false starts and that's what was happening again tonight. Amarius Mims not lining up on the line, false starts. Really the only one that I thought was questionable was the Ted Karras one that kind of was a huge play early on where that changed some momentum. But yeah, it was you just don't expect that. And for years, that's the one thing that the Bengals have done really well under Zach, has been one of the more disciplined, least penalized teams in the league. And to have that piling on with all this other inefficiency, again, where do you go?
Yeah, well, where most people are going right now is Zac Taylor under fire, and I think that's fair. We've talked about how this season will be one that if it goes totally sideways, that's going to be a real conversation. And you heard what we were saying at the beginning of this. It feels like a season that's on the verge of going very sideways. The play calling thing kind of gets brought up a lot, and how much, obviously it felt like they had a scheme in that first drive. We saw under center play action. We saw a screen. We saw a throw to Chase Brown out of the backfield, all the stuff we've been talking about, like that you need to do against this Denver defense that you can find something with, keeping the pressure off of Jake, keeping him clean, staying ahead of the chains. They did all that stuff. And then they just decided we're just going to throw jump balls to T and we have no idea. We're gonna get totally away from everything that was working and not really do any of that stuff anymore. We're not gonna try any more screens. We're not gonna check it down. We're not gonna have stuff in the flat. We're not gonna it just seemed like they got away from everything. The penalties were part of that, putting them in bad spots, but still it was one that it felt like that it lost the good direction and focus that it felt like it had early on.
Yeah, it felt like there was some patience and part of a plan early on, and they realized that they weren't getting any chunks, and they were trying too hard to make it happen. That one possession, there was 3 straight incompletions, and none of them were close to being completed. And one of them was the kind of a jump ball to T down the right sideline. I think there was about 8 minutes left or so in the second half, where it's almost like they were trying to play the math game where how they get 2 possessions instead of 1 with 8 minutes left. Let's go attack. And it's just not who you were. It wasn't part of the plan. So much of it was head scratching. And with the Jamar thing, I think maybe a little bit's being too much is being made up of that, because you see him and he goes up and he just kind of taps Zac and starts talking to him. Zac takes his headphone off. Wasn't demonstrative in any way, but that's one of those things that the frustration, all that stuff can grow as the season goes, and you might have just seen the first crack in it. And I thought it was really interesting how long Zac went with that answer. You would think normally that'd be something you'd want to just shoot down, and he went on and on and on and on to praise Jamar. I don't know if that was trying to head off that narrative or what, but that is going to be it's always been a thing with Zac, the play calling, but it's going to grow even louder moving forward if it continues to look like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they need more players that sound and look like Jamar right now. I don't think they're frustrated enough. I don't think they're mad enough. I really don't. It doesn't look like it matters to enough guys. It looks like there's a bunch of guys that gave up the moment Joe Burrow's toe snapped, And so let's bring in Jake Browning on play calling, though, to kind of put a bow on this conversation.
No, I don't think it's a play calling issue at all. I think everyone, when you have a poor performance on offense, there's so many different things that go into it. For me, like, things that may not even stand out as like bad plays, but things where you're like, I need to have my eyes on this side because of this or whatever. And basically, when you play that poorly on offense for this 2-game stretch, like, there's a lot. Everyone's playing a role in it, and everybody's got to play a role in the solution. And so that's kind of my focus.
One last comment I want to make about Jake and the offense, and then we'll move on, is that, I think the pendulum shifted too far back the other way this week. Last week it was, okay, you got to take care of the ball more. You've gone over the line from aggressive to reckless. Well, I think he's so worried about not making a mistake, which is something he said back in the Be Delusional after the Jacksonville game. You can't go out there and play not to mess up. You can't go say, I'm afraid to throw a pick. You got to go throw the ball and make plays. He looked tight and afraid to make the mistake at times tonight, I thought. And I think that kind of handcuffed the entire offense in a lot of ways. And that's going to be up to him and the coaches to find that balance. But, at a certain point, they just need to go back there and rip it, because this thing that happened out here tonight ain't it.
Yeah, and there's one thing about that too, and we can get more into this on the rewatch tomorrow, because you can't see the whole field on the game broadcast, but every single time he escaped the pocket, which happened a lot because the offensive line was not holding up, there was no hope of anything happening. The only question was, can he get to the sideline to throw it away before he gets sacked? It didn't ever feel like there was going to be any kind of throw or off script magic like there always was with Burrow. And I know Burrow's so good at that, but every time you saw him rolling right, it just never felt like this is going to end in a completion somewhere. And I don't know if there was guys that he could, like small windows he could have fitted into and he was too conservative, or if it was just guys giving up on their routes and not getting open. But that really struck me, that every time he would roll to the right to escape pressure, it was over. It was just a matter of time before he got to the sideline and gave up and threw it away.
Yeah. Real quick, I kind of quickly threw in some frustrations I think that this defense has at this point. I mean, I feel like they're still kind of who we thought they were. I mean, I think they're kind of playing like they'll do a few good things for you. Cam Taylor-Britt basically appears benched again. He's got to lead the league in ratio of games played to benchings. I mean, it's two ugly reps against Cortland Sutton over there that basically set up that touchdown, the one that ended up with the Mims end around or sweep or whatever for the touchdown. To me, the egregious one is with 8 seconds left before halftime. The 20-yarder from Nix. You have to know the situation. That's a game situation where any throw that they're making is going towards the end zone. You know what types of throws they're going to be making. I don't know. I want to go back and catch the 22, so this will probably be part of rewatch tomorrow too. But what Jordan Battle's doing guarding the front row, I guess, step up to when you see what's happening, help Dax. That there should be help there. You should know that's the type of route they're going to try to run there, and just to have no sense of protecting from the 20 with 8 seconds left. Like, how does this stuff happen? I mean, that's the type of stuff that I just think that's part of who they are as a team, and they just make these errors.
Yeah, the first touchdown too, and you tweeted it. How was nobody responsible for Bo Nix spying him and running in? I think that was Jordan Battle too. You see, there's a crosser coming across, and he goes to pick him up with Geno Stone, who was already there, instead of just staying there and spying Bo Nix. A lot of what ifs and head scratching with that defense.
Yeah, all the touchdowns are agreed. Those three touchdowns. I mean, the bust at the end there, just leaving people all alone. I mean, it's just bad. It's bad defense, bad team, bad everything. All right. Hey, how about the Joseph Toyota drive of the game? Shall we? Look, there was one good drive. There was one good drive, 12 plays, 62 yards, 4 first downs. And they kick a field goal because they decided to throw just a jump ball to T on 3rd and 2 for some reason, because that was their thing. That was their strategy for like a quarter. It was just throw jump balls. That's all we got. But either way, so the 5 first downs the rest of the game after that first drive, Jay.
Yeah.
5 the rest of the game after 4 on the first drive. Unbelievable.
Honestly, we should have known they were in trouble after that, even as good as that was to get points on the first drive. I can't remember the last time the Bengals have had 4th and 2 inside the 10 and Zach has gone for the field goal instead of going for it. I know you want to get points there, but that almost felt like an early white flag.
Yes. An early white flag. Maybe that should be the name of this episode.
It is early.
Injuries: Charlie Jones with an ankle. Mitch Tinsley was back returning punts. No other major injuries. We'll double check on that, obviously, next time we talk to the team, which will be on Wednesday. No availabilities tomorrow. We'll still have rewatch for you, which Jay will be pinch hitting. Charlie's in LA. Make sure you guys, if you're a Reds fan at all, or you're back on the team now as they're making the playoffs, go listen to the Power Stacks episode from Sunday. It was awesome. Like, Charlie and Brian and our producer Kent did an unbelievable job. 11 locker room interviews, unique perspective on all of them, talking about their journeys to all of that, to that moment. A lot of good stuff. It made me laugh. It informed me. I enjoyed it immensely. I think it was an incredible podcast. And go back and listen to that before the playoff games if you want to go watch. But Charlie's in LA, so Jay and I are going to break down some film tomorrow for you. That'll premiere on our Growler YouTube channel at 8 p.m. So make sure you come in, check that out. I know, another sad rewatch, but we're going to be informative with it. We're going to be informative, and we'll point out the stupid that they need to get fixed for you. And then everything else coming your way this week, just everything kind of a little off of our normal routine as we deal with a short week before the Bengals host the Lions, who smoked Cleveland this weekend at 4:25 on Sunday back at Paycor Stadium. Good luck with that one, Bengals. All right. On that note, this was fun, Jay.
One last thing. You said last week that we were getting how soon before we were in Dayton Triangle territory.
Ooh.
And I went and looked at teams that have lost by 25 or more points in back-to-back games. There's been a few, but the Dayton Triangles did it. And the Cincinnati Reds did it 4 times. They share the NFL record. Did that in 1934. The Dayton Triangles did it in 1929. Only 2 teams since the 1970 merger have done it 3 in a row. So that's what the Bengals will be trying to avoid Sunday against the Lions.
Triangle territory, baby. I'm gonna have to go pull out a Dayton Triangles shirt. I'm gonna have to start wearing it as I go through the rest of the season. Get my Dayton Triangle shirt, pull it out. It's never good when it's triangle time. All right. Thanks everybody for listening and for watching, and we'll talk to you on Rewatch tomorrow. Have a good one.